David, we're at one of your watering points, your water trough. Do you want to talk us through why this type, where it is, do's and don'ts, that sort of thing?
Yep.
I think they're obviously an integral part of grazing the way you do.
Yeah.
So let's hear it.
Sure. When you have more paddock divisions, you very quickly realise that there are lots of the paddocks you're creating that aren't suitable to have dams in. They either don't have the shape of where they're going to shed water and fill dams, so you need to, or we felt we needed to put the water in a pipe. Now that entails a lifetime of checking. So it's not anything to worry about. I was quite happy putting the water in the pipe. It allowed us to graze through a 9-year drought without the water being the way it is. We've got a water point in almost every paddock. Sometimes we've got, like in this one here, we can water 3 paddocks from the one point, and we've tried to do that quite a bit. So we didn't get any subsidies to do the fencing or the water subdivision, or the water provision rather. But what we did was we stopped putting out fertiliser and we stopped using chemicals, and we put the budget from those 2 items towards doing the fencing and water, and that cost, the cost of that when we did it was $85 a hectare. Now that was a reasonable amount of money, but we didn't actually have to go in and borrow that money, and actually we were used to spending a large dollop of money every year on fertiliser and chemicals, and a lot of contracting money, and that was every year. This was a one-off cost that's given us many years of benefit, so it's money well spent. Now this water comes out of a bore. You had a well that was only doing 300 gallons an hour, and during the long drought it started to lose capacity, so in 2007 we put down another bore a bit deeper and got 3 times as much water, so that's given us a degree of comfort. But we have mobile troughs, we don't have set troughs. We've only got about 2 troughs that are permanent. These ones are on skids, and we just hook up to them with we've got a chain on the front that we hook over the toe ball of a 4-wheel bike or a ute, and we unhook the hose off it and just drag the hose and the trough to the next site. That takes only a few minutes, and you can move the trough around. You don't have to put it in this place all the time. You've got a big semicircle round the water point where you can actually put the trough. Over a long period of time, that's going to have a bit of an impact, because every animal that comes in, especially when it's damp like now, every animal that comes in takes a spoonful of dirt away from where the trough is. So in the future we possibly put some gravel pads where we've got the troughs. Haven't done that yet, don't see any need to yet, but it could be something we might do. What else?
Your cattle are pretty quiet, David.
Yeah.
There's a few, not sure if you can see them there, just having a bit of a sticky beak.
Yeah. Yeah, they get very quiet with this sort of management, and we also did low stress stock handling, which makes the handling of any animals that form herds or flocks incredibly, it's just an absolute pleasure to do it. Well, we thought we were pretty good stock handlers before, but we just learned a few little things that that just made so much difference, and in difficult situations with animals, we never feel like we can't do what we want to with the animals we have, and they're always being moved in a very calm fashion, so that's good for them.
David, thank you. Hopefully, any do's and don'ts, any sort of things that you've learnt along the way?
Well, yeah, where this trough is hooked up, that's I think a very important thing. I used to have the hose going straight out parallel to the trough. So
let's have a look at that.
Yep. So I'd have this coming straight out, and it would gradually go down, and we'd hook the hose up. We found that we had breakages when we were doing that, and so we've just put this a right angle here, and it goes down. Very, very, very seldom ever have a problem. this is important. You've got the pipe. This is a brass threaded 1-inch pipe with a lock nut on it. There's another lock nut on the inside of this flange, and then it goes through into the trough, and there's another lock nut on either side. Now that makes it very firm so it can't move, which is important. If it moves, it'll get fatigued and it'll break. But I used to have the expensive yellow bushfire delivery pipe. Very expensive, it's $25 or $30 a metre. It wasn't terribly effective, it was hard to seal, and in the end I just went to 1.5 inch or 2-inch, I think it is, polythene, and I've actually, I think that pipe's 15 years old and it's had a lot of cattle walking on it. I've never replaced it, so it's a very cheap option and effective. What else? Oh, these troughs are aluminium. A bloke in Goulburn made them for me. He's not there anymore. The bloke who bought his business, I think, might still make them, but you could go to any engineering place and they'd do it. It runs on the frame, but it's got a bit of 1/2-inch rod under the frame, so that cuts down on friction. They do get a bit of water in the frame from time to time, and we have upgraded them, or strengthened them up, had them sort of rejigged a bit. So yeah, but generally they've been incredibly trouble-free. We've never had one break. The aluminium's incredibly strong, but it's light. No, it's very good.
We might talk about water quality another time too,
Sure.
David. Beautiful.
What is that?